What's up? It's Ken the Human, and today we are reviewing Jay Rock's new album 90059. Johnny Reed McKenzie, or Jay Rock, has been signed with several different labels since 2003, and is now signed with Top Dawg Entertainment, or TDE as it's commonly known as, and it's also part of the hip-hop supergroup Black Hippy, which also comprises of Ab-Soul, Schoolboy Q, and Kendrick Lamar. This is Jay Rock's second studio album, and before listening, I didn't have much experience with him. I've heard some of his guest verses on albums like Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, and Schoolboy Q's Habits and Contradictions. But I have to say, when I first heard Money Trees Deuce, one of the first singles off this album, I was really starting to look forward to listening to this. And honestly, I can say that I was not disappointed overall with what I was expecting, and at the same time, I was pleasantly surprised. The first track on this album, Necessary, opens as pretty much an explanation on the title of the track, 90059 be the zip, which I'm glad he did, because I was going to be calling this album three different kinds of ways, like 959, 90059. I'm glad he did it so nobody can be confused if they actually listen to the album. By the way, if y'all haven't figured out yet, 90059 is the zip code of Los Angeles. Then the beat changes and he just proceeds to immediately rip the track and just come with some hard and aggressive lyrics. In fact, his delivery on most of this album is pretty aggressive. You kind of get a feel of what kind of environment he grew up in and where he's from. And you can tell he put a lot of emotion into pretty much all of this album. You get a surprising amount of West Coast slang in this album, which I kind of enjoy. I like hearing new slang words that I don't know about, so I can like add them to my vocabulary. And I get the sense that Jay Rock is a blood because he avoids the use of C's in a lot of this album. However, the subject matter of the album is kind of all over the place within each track. It's kind of hard to pin down what he's talking about specifically in individual tracks. Topics range from just being braggadocious, revenge, relationships, and dropping wisdom, nuggets of wisdom, and metaphors. It's kind of hard to figure out what he's talking about, at least for me, within each track. And also there were a few impromptu beat changes and switch ups that I really didn't want in the album, like on Wanna Ride and Easy Bake. But one of the songs I really did enjoy was Gumbo. It did have a pretty solid topic. He talked about persevering no matter what you go through and no matter who you lose on the way. And it's over this really awesome guitar line and these really nice and smooth synths. My favorite track on this album is probably Telegram Going Crazy. It's this love song about his jealous girlfriend, and it's over these really angelic vocals, these background vocals, over a really nice, funky guitar or a bass line, and these psychedelic guitar lines. And it also has a few atmospheric organ breaks throughout it. And he talks about how social media has a really negative impact on his relationship with his girlfriend, along with her friends, and on top of the lifestyle he's living, where he's constantly put around these really beautiful women all the time, and he has to spend late nights anywhere and everywhere with a whole bunch of bad influences, and it's just adding fuel to the fire. The song Vice City included all of Black Hippy. I would call it an official Black Hippy track. And I love the flow choice they decided to go with on this track. It worked really well for all of them, especially Schoolboy Q's voice. I like his voice because it's really raspy and it really has a lot of high aggression in it. And I like how the flow style they went with kind of complements his aggression and his voice. Kendrick throws in one of his signature play on words in the hook. And we also get a pretty good chorus from Jay Rock. And the song overall just bumps in a whip, period. As I mentioned earlier, Money Trees Deuce was really the cause for me getting so excited for this album and looking forward to it so much. It's really a continuation of Money Trees off Kendrick Lamar's album Good Kid, Mad City, where in that situation on Kendrick's album, he was talking about his aspirations in a really superficial way, like in the car with all his friends and stuff. But on this track, Jay Rock talks about kind of the same thing, but in a less superficial way, and instead of in the car with a whole bunch of friends, he's talking about it in the midst of the environment that he's living in at the time. And the horn loop in the background really caught my ear for some reason. I don't know why. It was really captivating to me, and I liked it as an addition to the song. And the album ends with the song The Message, which rounds off the album with one of the reoccurring topics of perseverance with a triumphant yet gritty feel to it. There were only 2 tracks on this whole album I didn't really like. One was Wanna Ride, where the first part of the song was really cool, and then it switched to a less attractive beat, in my opinion. And the track 90059, Jay Rock really went for it on this track. He gave it his all vocally, I guess. I felt an old Dirty Bastard vibe with it. And in the lyrics, you could tell he was going for the chaoticness and the craziness of the area. For me, it was just too distracting, and honestly, I laughed every time I listened to the track. It was really not that good. Overall, this is a really solid album. Even though the subject matter isn't really focused from track to track, and there are a few unnecessary beat changes, it's really diverse in its production, and it has some really hard verses. Definitely is whip worthy, so I do recommend it. I'm going to give this album an 8 out of 10. Do you agree with what I had to say? Disagree? Please subscribe if you like my reviews, and let me know what I should review next. I'll see you guys next time. Stay frosty.